Look at Marie making it in first one in the chat. What's up, Marie? How you doing? What's up, Jay? What's up, Jordan? Alright, let's switch this around. Bonjour. I decided not to go with the lights being a bit brighter today. I thought I'd go with the normal lights rather than focusing so much on the background. What's up, Troy? How you doing? Look at Troy with the blue membership badge as well. Is that like 2 months now? Good support on YouTube members. I hope you're doing well too, Troy. I'm very good, thank you. I thought I was going to be knackered for today, but I'm actually completely fine, which is good. What's up, Kat? With the bronze badge as well. What's good? Again, I'll be updating the badges. I'm still not like fully sort of happy with the design of them just yet. I'm waiting to try and upgrade them, but they're gonna sort of get bigger and better as you're a sort of longer supporter. So that bronze one will change soon. I think I'm gonna change the bronze, silver, and gold ones. No one's quite hit gold yet, but it's quite a few people hitting bronze now, so I need to get it changed. It's been 2 months. Troy, how you doing with all your creativeness? I know you've only just started on this digital art journey, so how you doing? Bigger and better for sure. Kat, I thought you were gonna go off in my Instagram DMs earlier when you were messaging me about a certain comment that you weren't happy with. I thought you were about to hit the roof. Marie says, I've been terrible with Joel lately, so I need to be first. You're like popping in when you go to like the toilet or something, and that's it. I'm sure you've been doing pretty well, been practicing. Awesome. You were ready, were you? But held back because I didn't want to cause any trouble. I was half expecting you to comment on it publicly. Damn, I do be looking tired though. Right, let's have a listen to what we're listening to today. I changed up the music a little bit. Well, I picked a different playlist, so hopefully it's a little bit better than the last one, because it just repeats itself like week in, week out, even though they're just like chilled out songs. How was the wedding? The wedding was sick, absolutely sick. We might as well just touch on it before we start. You know, I kind of like starting with like a just chatting sort of thing and then move into the drawing. But the wedding this weekend was sick. The venue, like I hadn't seen anything of like, I hadn't seen anything at all, and it was absolutely beautiful. We all had these like cabins, like 2 minutes away from the venue, and so 2 minute drive. Sorry, and yeah, these cabins were lush. They all had each one had its own hot tub. It's huge. Far better than what I thought it was going to be. I had no expectations, to be honest with you. I had no expectations of what it was going to look like, but yeah, each with their own hot tub, nicely spaced out. It was awesome. And then the wedding itself was lush. The food was good. The venue, like I said, I couldn't go over how nice the venue was. It was like absolutely perfect. The what else was I going to say? And the room for like the ceremony was beautiful. The weather was good. It was great. All the boys were looking sharp, really sharp. The suit was nice as well, a little tweed number. Did you see it? Did you see it on my Instagram story? What's up, Milo? How you doing? Yeah, Troy, I saw that. Sorry, let me just wrap up the wedding. So yeah, the day went on really well. Like we went up on the Friday, had some drinks and stuff on the Friday with the boys, and then we obviously had the wedding on the Saturday. Stayed the Saturday night, came home Sunday. But on Sunday we had like a barbecue and stuff, which was awesome. The group of people that it was, like the bride and groom, like childhood friends, and like, you know, we, as a friendship group, our friendship group's pretty big, and yeah, it's just great. Like for me, it was great because like it's one of those scenarios where you don't just have like a side in the wedding, you know everyone, you know the bride and groom in and out, so great day. He didn't cry though. He didn't cry. He's a funny character though. Like he turns and just like, I think he was giggling a little bit because he just gets like that. Like I don't think he is so much of a crier. He's more of a, just like almost like a nervous giggle when she came down the aisle. But yeah, it was great. Really good time to have some time away as well. Felt longer than it was, which was great. And Troy, you said that you spent 24 hours on a grayscale shading and perspective drawing exercise. I saw that. That was on Discord, right? You know, different shapes like squares, triangles, but 3D obviously as well. Spheres. It's awesome. Really good work. Could you send us a link to that if that's like a course or something? Just it'd be really useful for a lot of beginners and stuff. So yeah, wedding was good. And then this week is a four day week this week, because in the UK we've got a 4-day weekend. It's bank holiday. So we 4-day week this week. So I've only got one more day at work tomorrow, and then we're gonna go out with some friends tomorrow night. It should be fun. And then hopefully get out on the kayaks this weekend. Anyway, what I should talk about is that Easter cutout tutorial. Holy, I don't think my button's gonna work. Where is it? I don't even know where it is. There it is. That tutorial has flown on YouTube. Usually within this sort of period of time, I get anywhere between 500 and 700 views on a video, potentially. That one's had 5,200, maybe 5,000. Yeah, 5,200, maybe 5,500 views. That went straight to the moon. Now, I don't know if it's because I posted a picture of my suit on Instagram or what, but things have gone crazy. I have gained hundreds of subs in what was just the weekend. But since Friday, since that tutorial's gone, I've gained hundreds and hundreds of subs on YouTube. I've gained something like 2,000 subscribers, followers on Instagram, like crazy. But that video alone, the sort of Easter cutout one, is just boom, straight to the moon, which is awesome because I got so many new faces that are joining, whether they're subscribers on YouTube or they are patrons or anything, follower on Instagram. The exposure's been fantastic. So, and it's been picked up by a lot of like really big like illustration accounts on Instagram, like a couple with like 250,000 followers and 100,000 followers here, there, and everywhere. So lots of exposure, which is really, really cool. So I've been absolutely blessed with that this weekend, and you can see the subscribers on the screen, like they just keep coming in, like on YouTube, just constantly. So much more exposure. And I've said this to myself a lot, and a lot of people that do YouTube will know that's the case. Of like, you just got to keep going, and eventually one will just hit. It'll be something. It'll just be either, like for me, it'll be either the design. It'll be the design. It could literally just be the Instagram video I make, the shorts video, because depending on how you sort of cut that and chop that up, you could it could do really well. You just get lots of views on that. I mean, that on Instagram's had like 105,000 views as well since Friday. Mental. So good exposure. I was hoping it was going to be like one of my TikTok moments where the video just keeps going and keeps going, because like I've got one TikTok and it's had like 3.1 million views. So, but yeah, it could have been a combination of the suit on the story. I just don't know what they've come for, to be honest with you. I have to start the OnlyFans sooner than I thought I would. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. And Troy says there, it wasn't a course as much the shading that we were talking about earlier. but I have an oil painting mentor that helped me do it. That's a great idea. That's awesome. And Jordan, yeah, we get Monday off as well, a little bank holiday. Jenny says, hi buddy, love the Easter egg. I appreciate that. I appreciate you dropping in and showing some love. The tutorials I've been saying there was doing really well. So I appreciate you, Jenny, dropping in, saying hello. Appreciate that, Jay. Appreciate that. It was a beautiful suit. Really cool suit. Kat, I think Milo posted a picture of it on Discord. Yeah, there we go. Bart's here. How you doing? How's things? And Troy says, my first attempt at shading was really bad, but I thought the last one was better. Hey, it looked great. It looked really, really good. And Bart says, I just started a landscape painting on my wall. Damn. Real world painting. Can't double tap to undo there. Right. I saw a picture of like a beautiful photograph of a scene in Bali that I want to replicate. I have it open here. So I'm going to try and replicate this. Let me just flick my iPad onto. Let's the other way around. You've restarted twice. Damn. Right, let's flip this around. Let's do some drawing, shall we? We've been chatting for about 10 minutes. That's not how that's meant to look, is it? Let me just fix that. This will be interesting to see if this is fixable. I think that was easier than I thought it was. Bingo. There we go. How did the coffee tutorial do? Did pretty good. Pretty good. I think again that one was kind of trickling a little bit. It's the tutorials lately have had good views, quite good views compared to like what YouTube keeps telling me is my averages. But yeah, that one did pretty good as well. I think it got like 1,000 in the end. 1,200, I think maybe. But just like I said, sometimes you just need one to hit, and that's it. You're good. You're good. And that's what, like I said, that's what happened on TikTok. You just had one. And that was it. And Troy says, I can't wait to do the new project where the planet is breaking apart. That one, I love that tutorial. When I started that, it's kind of really simple to do, but it took a while to get the brushes right. Should I show you what that looks like? Let me not reveal anything because we've got so much content. Let's just show this one. So just in case you haven't seen this one yet, the latest Patreon tutorial just went up on, of course, Patreon. Flick that around. So this is the tutorial that, again, just went up today. So it took a little while. When we zoom in, you see all this like little sort of, looks like sort of leftovers, essentially, because you erase through here and it leaves lots of little blocks and whatnot. It worked out perfect in the end. Once I found a brush that worked really nicely, it gave you that sort of decay and sort of like particles kind of look to it. But like, and then add in the bits around the edges and stuff, I think just looks really cool. I think it just makes it pop, gives it a bit more energy, a bit more movement. Troy says work has been bad lately, so you're behind. Hey, this happens sometimes. It happens. You just got to pick and choose your favorite ones. And as Bart says there, if you are here, I appreciate you being here. And if you could drop a like down below, helps the video out a bunch, helps me out a bunch. Jay says, got to catch up with your tutorials, but I'm glad to be back doing it. I know some people, I feel like sometimes I'm going too fast and I need to slow down a little bit, but I've got to keep going. I've got weekly, so I feel like sometimes it's just like you miss one and that's it. It's just like a spiral out of control. You miss 5 or 6. What's up, Tarkis? Yeah, how you doing? And Alturas is here. What's good? How we doing? And Kat says, here we go. Is this the way she's going to get out of leaving the stream? Is this it? Hockey just started getting... Oh, no. Okay. I'll let you off. I thought it was going to be, right, I got to go. Hockey is just getting in the way again. Sunday 11:30 Suns game. Sunday 10:30 my game. Monday 6:20 Suns practice. It's a spiral. I'm trying to catch up. Hey, I appreciate you still dropping in and saying hello though, and obviously vice versa. Familiar faces I see all the time. It's good to check back in with you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a Bali scene that I've got over on the other screen that I've seen from a photograph. So I'm going to put that together. Before I do, there is one thing I would like your opinions on, so please take a look at this. Oh, firstly, let me show you this. This was just drawn for a friend, well, for the wedding. The colour scheme was green / sage. So I just tried the paper cut style just with something like this. And I wanted to show you guys on stream this, simply being that you can do that paper cut style in like so many things. I feel like I'm casting a shadow like right onto my face because this feels really close. Let's try that. Is that better? Yeah, so I wanted to show you this because I want to show you that just because like you've done, so if you've done the paper cut tutorial this weekend, you can use this in so many things. Change the angle of the way things are being cut out. So this one's got like a downward sort of look to it. And you don't have to put something on each layer, but this one was done for them. I was just messing around really, but I think it came out pretty cool. We've got the highlight edge on the sides. We've got the canvas texture. That was a photograph of them just drawn out from their first dance. So I think it looks pretty cool, but I just want to show you that you can use the things I teach you in loads of other things. So you can always use the skills I teach you to create your own designs. What's up, Julie? How you doing? Good to see you. And Miss Hood figure, beautiful wedding art. I appreciate that. Thank you. How you doing? Kat says I like that. Not hat, that. Oh yeah. And you love the green. It came out really well. It came out really well. It's pretty cool. I think potentially if you like wanted to sit down, you can maybe like draw in different things on either side, but I couldn't really think of what those things were. If he comes back to me and says, could you draw this, that, and the other in? I mean, I gave him the file so he can do it once, but he likes to occasionally have a dabble. He supports me on Patreon, my boy. But yeah, let me switch back. There's one thing I just want your opinion on because I'm not sure I like it, but I think I do like it at the same time. But I want to know if you do. So let's switch this around. So this is something I drew today. The concept being that, let me get rid of the drawing guide as well. Concept being, of course, you're looking up because there's like a UFO above you. So you're in a forest, you're looking up and you're getting beamed up essentially. But I need to know from you guys, one, is that what, okay, answer these two questions. One, does it give off that impression? Does it give you the impression that that is a UFO in a forest pointing down at you, beaming you up? Just give me a yes or no in chat. And Jordan, the heart, I found just a PNG online. Makes me skint my eyes. It doesn't give you that impression, but that's not a bad idea, Kat. A little UFO idea, picking him up. I know I need to do Cooper. Cooper's just been left. But March was so busy. With the paper cutout stuff that I Okay, so you're saying that you didn't see the UFO part until I said it looks like the moon and forest. Now if there was details on the ship, maybe. I need to sneeze. I'm not just like weirdly thinking or like looking for inspiration in the room. I was going to sneeze there, but I lost it. Okay, so I'll tell you what, just give me a sec. Let's see if we can do something with this then, because I would like to use it, but what you're saying there about making it look more like a UFO makes sense. So what I'm thinking is potentially like, What if we added in like, make it a drawing assisted layer? So does that, it's getting a bit closer, I would assume. Marie, are you saying yes to that? Like those additions with the dots? Does that look close? Like, that's very simple straight off the rip, but I'm thinking potentially we could, that could look, and Jenny says that looks more like a water reflection than a horizontal line to me. Oh, right. So that's just a lens flare. So that, for example, if I was to grab this, that's a good point. I could rotate that, say that way. That no longer looks like a horizon line. That's just meant to be a lens flare. Yes, but more details, maybe different colored lights. Okay, cool. Some good feedback. Maybe we would like alpha lock them. I think like a yellowy color would look good. Maybe fill them in like yellow. This is getting a bit close to that retrograde style color wise anyway that Tati did recently. Something like that straight away looks so much better. Do that, then give like a perspective blur. Every time I'm swiping from left to right, I'm adding in a perspective blur many times, trying to push these beams out a little bit. Which already seems to be looking a little bit better. But again, it always looks a little bit brighter on your screen than it does mine. It's not as bright as that. That's definitely better now you see the UFO. That makes more sense, and I appreciate that feedback. Potentially what I would do is maybe, what else could we do? Let's then maybe think about adding in like a radial drawing assisted lens flare to see if we can get something really small that will just do the trick. What if we actually did just drop a lens flare onto that? So I'd need to drop it correctly onto, say, here. Whoa. This is going to be a bit tricky, isn't it? No, don't like that. It's horrible. Maybe the ship itself is already really dark. That looks a little bit cooler. The color looks like a bit too bright. So there is another layer of trees, but if we actually take a look at the there's two. If we take a look down here in the bottom left hand corner, you see this shape here. It's a blurred out version of the trees. Turn that on and off, you can see that just gives a little bit more depth without sort of being quite dominant, and I want to let a lot of the light through, so I might drop that up to like 40, so just to really emphasize that a little bit more. But I think the yellow there straight off the bat makes such a difference. And Jordan says, what about the center, like it was opening up? What, so like, that's a good idea, some good feedback. Yo, let's have a look. So what if we created a small yellow circle in the middle, maybe? Oh, relax. It doesn't have to be yellow, but I'll draw it in yellow. Not sure what's going on with this. it's so bright. It looks like it's just going to be... I'm not sure about the yellow. I'm definitely keen on these yellow bits around the outside. Like, even to the point where I would potentially consider maybe, let's just say, like adding in a third color. I'm not sure I would want to do it, but maybe if we like darkened these ones up. So let's make them all that actual color. So let's alpha lock that and fill that, but change the color. Oh, that actually looks way better. Just a little bit of yellow. Okay. What if we made one like a purple color? So let's grab this color here and go to purple. What if we made like these ones purple? No, so let's switch it around. What about those? So maybe the smaller ones could be purple. Again, the screen gets so... Can I change the brightness for you? So they've got a bit of purple in them now. You can see just there on the end of my finger. Looks so cool. Use the lens flare in the center, and that's pretty cool. So there is a lens flare already there. God, I can't really see that now. I'll have to up the brightness a little bit. So now maybe, to be honest with you, that would need to change on the trees. What if we just like to start colouring in a little bit with like little bits of yellow on the trees as well. Maybe not the yellow. Okay, already that's looking a load better. I just need to mess around with the effects. But that's a pretty cool idea. That was just something I was just messing around with the concept. It's hard to sort of... I know what it's meant to look like in terms of what it's meant to portray. So looking up at a UFO looking down on you is pretty different. Look up Iris Door. Is this going to be one of those naughty links again that you keep sending me, Kat? Ignore all the stuff that's about to pop up on my screen. Iris Door. Oh yeah, I see you. It's a good idea. So what if we grab... The problem is that the light would be so bright. I want to portray that the light's really bright coming down onto you. So we just need to maybe reel that back in a little bit. So let's just grab like this dark tone. Change this to normal. Drag in the darker tone. Extend this out a little bit. Create a new layer above it, drawing assist it. We've got a radial one sort of working there. So ignore the color for a second. I'm just going to grab white and the monoline. Got it on radial, so that's fine. So what if I say start here? Oh, hang on, I just realized you could just do that really quick and easy. Like that. Maybe a little bit straighter, maybe. At wrong angle. Okay, that's pretty cool. There we go, Kat, you like that one. Now, the only thing I'm thinking there is, how the heck are we going to try and like shade that in? The only thing I'm thinking is to not. I'm thinking like maybe like alpha lock that. Grab a darker version of that color once more. So let's go like down here somewhere. Fill that in. That needs clipping mask in to that. Maybe Oh, Kat, you've hit the nail on the head. Look, everybody loves it, all right? Everybody loves it. Loves it. Troy, gonna have to duck. See, that's why I said duck. I've read it here. Sorry, having to duck out because of work. Be back in a bit. No worries, Troy. Well done, Kat. Well done, Kat. Yeah, okay, so... This is going to be a good test of Procreate, actually. Let's just draw... Let's alpha lock that back. And let's draw in this line here. Let's erase the tiniest little gap in between here. And I just want to try something that I don't think I've ever considered before. We'll make that a perfect shape so that we can drag and drop the color in. Ignore the shape for a minute. We'll sort it out in a minute. Let's go to the selection tool and just isolate one shape. But we've got a drawing assist on the same layer. Now what I'm hoping is if we isolate the shape, can you hear me by the way? Because I think my software is probably going to cut my voice in and out. So just let me know if it cuts in and out. But I'm thinking we then go down here, we isolate the shape, meaning we can't draw outside of it but then plus the fact it's a radial blur, we should be able to just shade or highlight color in any way, one of them without affecting the others. Now that's what I think will happen. Most likely it will color this one in on its own. Should we try it? There we go. It has. It's done it singularly. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is we just brighten up around the edge here. So you still get that iris look. Let's just test something before we do that. Let's test what this would look like the other way around. That one is filled in. And this one is the darker one. Right, darker iris or lighter iris? What's that, Jin? Is it Jin? Jin? How you doing? One of our superstar supporters, I believe. Darker. See, like the darker iris. So the center will be. So what you're selecting there would be this one, the darker blades. So darker blades or lighter blades. Lighter blades. You're saying lighter, Julie, as well. Would that be where the beam was coming from? The beam, by the looks of it, is now going to have to come from around the iris. The beam itself, I was imagining, is like just coming straight from the center. This needs to stay, though. I love the addition. It looks great. It's just trying to work out how it will work. Darker blades. Oh, pull back so you can see the whole thing. But the thing is, it's not finished yet in terms of the aesthetic. I just want to kind of gauge which one would be the better one. That's the dark blades, and that's light blades. Still highlights and stuff got to go on them. I think I'm gonna scrap the whole UFO and start again soon. There's too many layers with loads of rubbish on it. Got the light coming from the middle too. Oh, well, we can do it from the middle. That's cool. But we're going to have to darken the blades up then. So there's no option but to go for the dark blades, because otherwise the light's going to be too bright and it'll just look rubbish. Okay, let's try this then. Okay, 2 secs. Let me just duplicate the canvas and we'll start again. Not start again. We'll duplicate the canvas and make changes, because if we're going to do it like that, so it's all coming from the center behind the iris, then this needs to change and we can do more with it. So to be honest with you, I want to just duplicate it now and then just go back on myself and like do something a bit more like that, like just a really loose. What's this? Let's just get rid of that. Don't know what layer that is. Don't know what layer that. Okay, that's the circles themselves. Let's just strip this way back to what its fundamental shapes are. Yeah, I'm drawing along with you guys now. How the turntables have turned. Okay, so you're saying to go from the center, which would mean dark blades. And we're going to go with a bright center. Something a bit closer to that. You've surpassed me, chat. You've just gone past me now. You guys are in control here. I need to really, to be honest with you, get rid of those light sources in the back for a minute and start again, just start again completely. Make it a bit bigger. Oh, you guys. So demanding. I'm joking. Go back. What do you mean go back? Hey, yo, I think we've got too many chefs up in here. Which bit looked better before? This bit? Yeah, we'll come back to that. We'll do it all again. There you go. Listen. This is not my first rodeo. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, exactly. I'm getting told to dance here. I'm only joking. I'm only messing. Let's try and do some like extra layers to this. That's the trees. That's fine. That can stay there. This lens flare stuff can move, and I think arguably that can all go up here. So that's all close to each other now in terms of the UFO. That's great. Let's lower this down again. Let's try and create some like layers to the underside of it. I didn't think I was going to be working on this one, but I'm glad we are. We could do some like metallic stuff to it. So like grab this color, like try and create like. Wait, what layer? What the heck is this layer? No, it's not alpha lock. Oh, now look at it. You got me all flustered. We're demanding, but we're right. Right, that's a ban right there. Last time Joel asked for our opinion, we are the artists. He'll never ask again. Sorry, but also not sorry. I'm breathe. It's all cool. It looks great. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's not my work though. It's everybody else's. So we could do like something maybe like that. Let's go upper layer. Maybe like clipping mask this. No, not clipping mask yet. I always clipping mask. That's probably something you've obviously noticed by now. But clipping masking is like, it's like creating an actual mask, obviously, like a mask layer. It's just so unforgiving. You can just make a change at any point. You ain't getting any royalties for this. If this is a banger video, I'm out. I'm going to Bora Bora with or without you. I ain't interested. Who knew we had so much power to fluster Joel? Yeah, they've always known that. Unfortunately. Was Milo even here for the Holland incident? Yeah, it sounded like an invite, Julie, didn't it, really? Right, eraser. I feel like this music's weirdly accurate. Okay, they look kind of cool. Now, again, it always looks brighter on yours, so just bear that in mind. I think, I don't know if I like the turquoisey look to it. Like potentially, let's just whip that to white. No, that's the trees. What if we went to up here? Oh, that's just, it's not a separate layer. Well done, Joel. And let's fill that in like white. Alpha lock this, fill that in white. Get a more chromatic look to it. And what if we actually just grab the eraser? You subscriber on YouTube. The thing is, I don't want to make it too metallic because it's going to be hidden. The majority of it's going to be hidden from because of the lighting that's going to go on it, like we had before. Now, I quite actually like the blue look to it. Now that's looking a lot better. And I think maybe we just add the tiniest bit, maybe around the edges. Just flicking the brush up and down, up and down. Okay, we'll just leave it somewhere at the minute. Random question, how would the UFO look if it was slightly transparent? Well, the thing is, the beam itself is going to take over the majority of this design. It's got to be super bright. That's why it's reflecting, the light is reflecting up and onto here. So it's a good idea. I just don't think it's something that I'm going to try in this one. Maybe afterwards we could take a look. But it's good to see everybody's creativity coming to life a little bit. Your different ideas. A little bit that way and a little bit this way too. So there's some really faint beams in there, and we'll brighten these ones up. So let's just do that now. Let's go Gaussian blur. Oh, by the way, there's a tutorial that's coming and you're going to be fed up of hearing me say the word Gaussian blur. Alright, so let's try and get this beam right. The beam itself is going to be firing down. We need it to cove in the middle a little bit. Let's try to see how much we can get away with doing that could work. Let's go here. Let's select that shape. Oh, damn. Now, being white or yellow, I'm thinking white. Not that much white. Let's just reel that in. Alpha lock, fill it. Alpha lock it. Let's just try a perspective blur from the center. I'm not sure that's going to do anything for ages. I have to do this like a million times. Coming through the clouds, so you could have a cloudy night. That would look pretty cool. You could make it really... Oh, that reminds me of like Black Panther a little bit. I was thinking cloaking device, but clouds works too. Steam. What's up, Claire? Would look great as an animation, Joel, with some flashing lights and a sequence. Zoom ups. You could do like the UFO rotating and the lighting rotating as well. Let's try an even darker color on here. I'm not convinced. No, that's too much. Where's it gone? Yeah, I think that's definitely necessary to darken up the whole UFO. We need this extra dark tone. Okay, that's fine. Let's try and get this light source right. Now, how I was doing it before was a radial blur. So what have we got going on here? Yep. I'm going to go in with white to start with. And what I'm going to do is a drawing assisted. Should be. I want to start with like a center point. So my center point is going to be like here. And then break out those lines. This is just a rough one because I'm not doing any straight lines at this point. Ignore that. What if we the perspective blurred them? Okay, I liked where it was going, but more so like that than anything. What if you duplicated that, rotated it, and then lowered one of the opacities down? 2 secs. So let's go ahead quickly and jump to the other one. Let's jump to the other one we had and just see what we liked the look of. So this one we had, and it was behind the trees, and I think that's a good idea. Otherwise you end up getting that horrible sort of line effect the whole way down, so that's good. We had a lens flare sat in behind there, which in this one would come from like in behind there. You'd set that to like normal and then duplicate that as well and move it outside. And this would need to have some sort of like layer effect on it. You like the lines behind the trees. Watch the bear. Once again, I appreciate watching the mistakes happen. It's encouraging as a streamer. Yeah, these mistakes happen all the time. That's what people love about these streams in a way that, again, I've said this all the time. I won't get too deep into it, but the videos you see online of like me, anyone, I'm not going to name names, but there's no chance in hell that everybody does it perfectly every time. It's cut up. Some videos of mine were an hour and 45 minutes long to shoot, and the video only takes like hour and 10 minutes, and it cut out, what's that, 35 minutes worth of nonsense, reversing stuff. It's just crazy. But in live streams, it is, you get to see the process a little bit more. You get to see the mistakes. But for sure, it's not a perfect design every time at all. The only thing you got to do is got to be thick-skinned with this lot. They all just ridicule you. It is just game over. It's game over at this point. You got to be strong. You got to tell them, listen, keep this up and you're getting banned. Which has never happened to anyone. Just saying. Alright, let's try and do these radial lines. Didn't know where Julie's comment there was going for a minute. I've had some really funny comments recently as well, like on Instagram and stuff. There's people just chatting absolute rubbish. Like just silly comments that just don't make any sense. Like that the video I made, you know, like the Instagram shorts that I make, Instagram reels, they're like 30 seconds long. The tutorial's like an hour and 10 minutes long. And I get a comment from somebody saying, well, it's no good, is it? If you just don't tell us what brushes you're using, it's clearly too fast. And it's like, well, I think you've misunderstood the concept, my friend. You have not understood. What's that TikTok called? I understood the assignment. That was it. My friend did not understand the assignment. Now, I can't do too much of this and it needs to be changed to like add or something like that, so it's nice and bright. I just don't know. That looks sick. Oh, you can't see anything. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? There we go. The inside, the iris now, it's got this like really light look to it, and that's the only way I think this is going to be pulled off, if it's got like a little look to it like that. What's the bet? I am indeed my friend. I'm a PlayStation boy. They're just not smart, Joe. True. They like hiding behind their screens and being armchair critics for sure. Does it look like a space fruit or a space kiwi or something? I don't like the metallic lines. These, not that line. This line. I hate it. Yeah, boy. Team PS5. Hope can game with you one day. What games do you play, Bear? Maybe that has to. Maybe that's like a new tier on Patreon. You get to play with me twice a month. Little arc reactor for sure. I'm just chucking stuff on at this point, trying to see what sticks. I just don't think it needs to be too bright. I think we're definitely a lot closer than we were with the last one. Hey, yo, relax. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I just heard my, oh God. I heard what I just said back. This is like, you know what I mean? I have these conversations. We have them innocently. And now you get to play with me once a month. I mean, come on. Oh, relax. I'm just... Sign me up. Sign me up to... Hey, yo, but how much are we talking? That's the thing. How much are we talking? Shooter sports and NPGs. NPGs? What's an NPG? Non-player... NPG? I play mainly like Call of Duty, FIFA. Call of Duty, FIFA. I'm playing a little bit of Fortnite lately. I think it's because they made that mode so that, you know, us old people can play as well. I know I need to be more specific. I know, but I just, you know, sometimes I just think I'm having a conversation with a bunch of normal people. It's far from it. It's just a filthy bunch of animals. Filthy. I appreciate Bart trying to hang on there, like saying that it looks much better. I appreciate that. We got a little bit sidetracked there for a second. I say twice a month. God damn, I'm gonna be knackered. Oh, for God's sake. And then I read Bart's next comment and he just abandons the art and jumps straight into the same conversation. Listen, boy. Yeah, I need a safe word. Safe word could be procreate. Oh, RPGs, I'm with you. Joel, you're not even close to being old. I'm old. Oh, God. And Milo as well. I'm old too. But don't be saying twice a month. Come on. We need to reel them in. And then GM Bob comes straight in and says, you kids don't know the meaning of old. Straight in. Boom. Drops a date of birth on there on us. I'm just gonna get back to doing some drawing. I'll leave you guys to it. What the heck? You ever get this problem where you gotta reconnect your Apple Pencil? Well, I'm 28. So I'm just like really old, right? Like... Oh, Marie, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to offend you. I have a very terrible guesstimation of how old people are, so I really do not want to offend anyone. And to be honest, I've never seen most of your faces fully. Get an idea for those crow's feet. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. A little bit better. This little bit of metallic look to it is too bright. I think we'll leave it at that. I think it's getting a bit too stressful. I can't be bothered at this point. I want to get onto the other one, the Bali look to it. "28 is still so young." Cat's 48. Marie. No, not the live. Not the live. I'm not done with the live, just the drawing. I want to get onto the Bali style one I wanted to draw. It's the colours and stuff that I need to like just have a play with. Just there's so many. Just you got to keep constantly having a go at the colours and seeing what fits, basically what sticks. Not really in the mood for it, but that looks way better than what it did before. I think that gives you, unless it's like a crazy space kiwi, I think we the drawing, ew. What do you mean? Does GM stand for Grandmaster, Bob? Yeah, I know. Does Marie not like the drawing? Oh, you're answering Julie. Oh, okay. I was going to say, yo, Marie, what's your beef? I thought me and Marie were going to have a little bit of YouTube beef there. I'm joking. Right. Let's go do some Bali stuff. Did I show you this last week, guys? This is going to be a tutorial on Patreon next month. I've just got to shoot it. And I've only drawn it once, so it could look pretty different to that one. This was drawn a couple of weeks ago, using my brushes. So that will be available sometime next month. So there's a few patrons here as well. I just want to sort of explain how I'm going to do this going forward. I really love this style. I love drawing the landscapes with the brushes and the particular painting style. Going forward, I always think to myself that this is kind of like, I'm not saying it's, how can I word this in the right way? I'm not trying to say it's like, you know, the hardest thing you could ever draw. Of course not. But what I'm getting at is, in terms of skill level, I feel like it's still pushing the very tip of the level scale. So what I mean by that is, I know it can be a bit tricky for some people. So what I'm trying to do is balance it between drawing this type of style once a month on Patreon, drawing this once a month on Patreon, so that then we can then go and do other things in the month of Patreon. So what I mean by that is one tutorial like this a month, which I hope will start to push people's skills in, like, to try and tackle these landscapes. And then after that, it'll be something maybe a bit more, a little bit easier potentially. But this painting style is just so beautiful. I don't know if I showed you this one last week as well. It was an Arctic style. This one's really tricky to do, actually. And again, it's using the same style, but I want to, again, paint that in that particular style. But this one's really tricky. Snow's actually really tricky because you can drop in white and it just doesn't give you the same effect. But then you have to drop in like grey tones. There's greys in here. There's like really dark purples. And that's the only way you can get that snow effect to try and work out. Bart says, does that mean I have to join your Patreon for the landscapes? The landscapes are only on Patreon at the minute, because the brushes that you use I want to make exclusive to Patreon for as long as I can. I'm not saying I've never even stated that they are exclusive to Patreon, but at the minute I want to keep them there for as long as possible until I go, I need to chuck a tutorial on YouTube with this style. That may be a little while. I don't know. I'm not going to put a date on it, but at the minute they are just for Patreon. There's only two of them with the brush set. So, but for those particular style, it will be Patreon for a minute. You love the mountains. Mountains. Yeah, I think the blurring of the foreground in the last one was pretty cool. Somebody mentioned about putting like was it a killer whale or something like that? Just in the water. Would look pretty cool. Jay says, I think you've seen my face. I can't remember, Jay, to be honest with you. You can always pop it in Discord. In the introduce us section. Introduce yourself. Oh, I appreciate that, guys. Claire and Marie. Appreciate the support there. The T word, the tutorial word. Is this going to be a tutorial? This one will be, again, because I'm only limiting myself to one a month on Patreon like this style. If anything now would be, what month are we in? April, so that'd be something like in June maybe. Hey, but they are the cheap, not being competitive or anything, but it's the cheapest Patreon account you're gonna find for Procreate content. 3 tutorials a month, and you get all that for just £3. £3 a month. And just in case you weren't here last week, I'm just going to show you quickly what we drew last week before I move on to the next one. This was a padlock design, of course, that I drew, and try up the brightness a little bit. I don't think that's doing it much justice. It started off being flat and front facing, and then we turned it into this 3D design. And if I zoom in on some of the details for you, you can see that sort of 3D look to it. I'll probably rotate it correctly so it points towards the light source a little bit. But that was really fun to do. Marie says, I'm glad I joined Patreon, just putting it out there. I appreciate it. Have we dropped to 2 viewers? What's going on? My stream deck says 10, the chat says 2. Now, unless everyone's rushing to go and become patrons, I think we just lost everybody. Oh no, I think everybody's still here. Maybe the numbers just wrong. You didn't see the final result last week. That's awesome. So compared to last, so what did we do at the layers? Is it in this one? So it's what I did was I was explaining complementary colors. So it started off like this, where we had just the warmer tones. So those warmer tones, and it was front facing. And I said from the start I wanted to make it 3D, but then I ended up wanting to flip it from there. So you could do it just like that. There's a very, I don't know if you can see in this top left hand side, like a really grey look across the screen, and that's your light source from the left hand side there. And Liala with the hey you £2 super sticker, I appreciate you, thank you so much. It should come up on the screen, but I can guarantee it won't. Usually you get like a little pop-up. Why is it not working for you? Let's have a look. Oh, it's not going to work. Let's see if it catches up. Let's see if it catches up. But I appreciate the super sticker and the support. I appreciate you. Thank you. And you say, thank you for the tutorials. You are very welcome. It's my pleasure. Should we start? This is something I want to touch on. It's just very quickly. It's complementary colors. In case you weren't here last week, if we grab this color here, which is the highlight color, this like peach color. I've said this before, but if you go to harmony and you go up here to complementary, there you go. There's your super sticker pop up. You can change it here to complementary, and then you get this split color. So then you grab the blue, and then you can start painting in with the blue. Now it'll pop because it'll look awesome. On the color of the base of the locket. Now if we switch back on full cam and then go back to the other version, you can see then I actually started painting in with blue. You can see I changed the light source in the top left, and then the blue accents then hit the edges of the item, the lock itself. You can see all these beautiful blue edges, and then they are facing the light source. So that was last week's design. That is also going to be on Patreon next month. That's also going to be on Patreon, full tutorial on that. It's going to be a kind of long one, merely because, not kind of long, it's this whole design part here needs to be simplified. So once I've simplified the process in my mind, we'll do the flat face on version, then we'll go 3D, and then you can leave it as is. And Jay, you say that it's all over my Instagram. What do you mean? Oh, your face you mean. Okay, let's switch back. Let's draw in this Bali design I've got. It's almost, we've been in live for an hour and 15 already. Yeah. I'm so desperate to show you some other stuff that's coming up. But I can't just yet. Okay, let's go. Live screen. I'm going to start off with a blue background. So I'm going to go in grayscale to start with, as always, so you can get your shapes right. Do I? Yeah, let's go in grey. Let's go in grayscale to start with, and then we'll I need to move this one to the top a little bit more. Always say this, try and do grayscale to start so that you can get all your shapes in, and then you're good to go for the rest of your design. Some of the designs are sick. Like, again, another tutorial that's coming next month. I could show you all 3 that are happening next month. Like, I love being so far ahead of myself at the minute. It's helped me like mentally quite a bit to know I'm like prepared for it. But yeah, some of the designs, they are sick, and I hope you love them as much as I do. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, if you've ever seen in Bali these sort of like step style mountainside gardens, that's what I'm going to be drawing in now. So I'm just trying to get like sort of the flat edge here of the side. It'll all start to sort of be more obvious once I start to layer this on top of itself. And then I'm going to just very quickly do one more layer with this. Where, yeah, it's just a slight angle like that, and then duplicate that. Let's grab this, move this down. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna love them next month, but we got some real fun stuff. I always say it, but I mean it. I really do. The stuff that's coming is gonna be sick. Oh, hang on. Let's go to this shape here and just erase that. I'm trying to prep my layers so that this will all make a lot more sense. That's fine. Okay, cool. That actually looks pretty good. If I, yeah, let's go ahead and just widen this out a little bit more. And now I've pretty much got all my steps that I need. So I can make this the biggest one here, duplicate that, maybe just make this a darker version this time, and then just scale that down, pop that on top of that, and then duplicate and repeat. Grab this one, scale it down a little bit more. Yeah, we're getting there. Potentially I've not made them tall enough, so I just need to maybe just bear that in mind in a second. Sebastian says, are you from England? I am indeed, my friend. I am indeed. Hence the British accent. Hello, love. Fancy, yeah, Kappa. Could you not tell? Yeah, we'll just keep going up. We keep going up all the way. And probably for the sake of a future tutorial, this would probably be set to only drawing one step and then just scaling like we are doing now. Except what this is doing is just allowing us to sort of visualize where everything's going to go. You're wee bonny lassie. Hey, pal. every time I do a Scottish accent, I just sit here and wait for like a review from Julie. Every time I just sit here and wait. Okay, cool. So there's one. So there's one of our steps. This will all make a lot more sense unless it does already. I'm going to group all of them together for a minute because I just want to adjust the perspective. It needs to be a bit taller. And potentially I would have made them a little bit wider. That looks okay for a minute. That could be pretty good. A 0 I thought you said 0 out of 10 there? I was about to ban your ass real quick. Ban. B-A-N. No more letters. B-A-N only. Relax. Ban. Before I get banned. Right. Oh, you make me laugh. Hey, y'all make me a laugh. Okay, that's one set done. The background layer is going to have to be redone again in the same way. Okay, let's do it again. So we're going to do we're doing the midgrounds now. So I'm going to lower these grayscales down a little bit. And then hey, yo, relax. This is twice now. Listen, we're just here to draw, okay? What's your best Canadian accent? Ugh, I don't think I have one, to be honest with you. I don't think I could. I can't even think of what that even sounds like. I've got nothing for you, unfortunately. What will it be in the end? This is going to be like a hillside from, like in Bali. So bear with the process. We'll see how it goes. Always a process. So I always, to answer like Sebastian a little bit there, I always start things really, minimalistic, not minimalistic, grayscale these days. Simply being that you can plan out your design without being distracted by the colors of it. So we can build this hillside and not worry in the slightest of what the what it looks like right now. We'll deal with that as and when the color stage comes. Just gonna keep building this layer up and up and up. My only concern with this one straight off the bat is if we end up doing the tutorial potentially in this style, it's going to take ages, like as it is there. So let's pinch those together, and also the layer count. Now those perspective also need to start to flatten down a little bit. Okay, that's fine for a minute. Now I need to undo that, and then every time I duplicate this layer, drag it above, it's all got to start getting a little bit flatter. So this one would take a lot of prep. You guys are all gone quiet now. You're like, Jesus, what is he drawing? I think he's lost it. I think he's lost his marbles finally. It's going to get to the point where it's almost vertical. Okay. I'm going to have to see this through as it is and see what we can come up with. I promise you, in the end, it'll actually look really beautiful. Liala, it's Bali hillside, so just bear with the process for a sec. We are just planning out our shapes first of all. Planning out is key to make sure the scene itself is just laid out correctly. Have a good drive home there, Marie, cat. I get too distracted. We'll see you at every red light, I would imagine. I'll see if you're still on when I get there. Orky dorky. Let's go here. Now, scale this one up a little bit. Maybe just scale that a bit wider as well. They all need to go off the screen for a sec. Will I stream tomorrow too? No, I only stream on Wednesdays. Wednesdays between 8 and 9 is, well, UK time, is the time I stream. Unfortunately, this is not yet my full-time job. So I have to do my day job during the day. So I'm just trying to get this right. I can see it in my head, so that's fine. As long as I can see it. That makes sense. And then these ones up here are actually going to get really flat. So I think from here upwards, I'm just going to start flattening them down. I need to be more aggressive with the stance on them. And I think that'll do. I think I can group all of those together and get a vague idea for the landscape with this one sat in front. So then I can grab that group. Let's move that way further back. And now I'm getting a real good idea for the perspective backwards. And then right in the back, I'm going to go ahead and grab this grey. And I'm just going to draw in like a very sort of rough hillside. So we're going to just draw in something that will just run down here like so. Side there, I may need to make a different color variation just to get my basic shapes in here, and then introduce maybe another one just running down. That's going to run sort of down here like that, edge to edge, and that gives me an idea now for what I'm going to be drawing in. Just once we wish he did. I'd love to stream all the time, but unfortunately I can't. Every now and then I look up and it looks like you have a really long nose because of the on air sign. I have a really long nose from the long out. I ain't getting me all conscious. Okay, so basic templates in. Let's change the screen back because it's decided to go to night mood. Right, cool. Let's start using those guides and start creating my scene. So I think what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to probably grab all of these layers and group them together as one layer, and then duplicate it again if I can get away with the layer count, which I can. Flatten that down and then leave that group at the very bottom, hidden out of view. And then I can lower this guide down and crack on from there. So I'm going to switch back to the palette I made for this one, which is up here. And then I've got a few different colors that I'm going to start painting in. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and outline the entire thing. That's cool. And then what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I think maybe actually let's turn that layer off. Let's just start painting on it. Let's just freehand it. Let's just go for it. So I'm going to use my brush collection for this one. I'm going to use my highlights brush. Lovely. Let's start with the base color, yeah, which is this one here. And then we're just going to start to just paint in the tops of these ledges. So how these work is they're this beautiful like staggered hillside, and they're like green on the top, and then they have like a really dark edge to them, and we end up with this beautiful bit of greenery on the top area. I think you'll probably already start to understand where this is going now. No Red Bull. No Red Bull today. I realised that sometimes I come off stream and I say I'm knackered, and then I lie in bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning and realise I'm not very knackered, and I go to ask myself, why am I not knackered? I know why. What's up, Elizabeth? Hi everyone. I treated myself to a new iPad, more gigabytes, so I can do more with Procreate. That's awesome. Which iPad did you treat yourself to? So I'm just roughly painting this in for a second, just to get the basics of the shapes in here. I might have to start reducing this down a little bit. Okay, that's coming along quite well already. Ninth generation, let's go. Love it already. Appreciate that, Claire. There we go. So that's painted in nicely there. I'm going to go back a layer and I'm going to start working on the shaping behind, which was here, and start painting that in with its foundation colors, which I believe is this tone here. And so let's go ahead and draw that in. I'm going to just go back to the monoline brush, I think, for this one. So just like all of my designs recently, you have to bear in mind the further something gets back, the less detail you put in it. So this set of hills down here in a minute is going to be my main focal point. And as our layers get progressively higher, we are going to go ahead and put less and less detail into them because we want our main focal point to be where the user's eye is drawn to. And also your shades of color get darker towards the front, lighter towards the back. So always bear that in mind when you're drawing in a landscape. You just want to create that sense of depth, and that when something gets really far back, we're not interested so much in it. We want the main front area to be nice and bright. So again, we'll create a new layer and we'll start painting directly onto the layer before we add its main highlights and stuff. And again, still using my brush set. So for this one, increase the brush back up a little bit. So one thing I've also started trying to do lately is replicate photographs. So if I like a particular photo of a landscape, it's trying to replicate them. Oh, I do it all the time, Claire. I do it all the time. Always draw on the wrong layer. Again, this is what I'm talking about. My tutorials, if I left that stuff in, God, it'd be a lot longer. And I could let you know exactly how to spot it. Because like I'll tap off of the layers and I'll go back up. I'll go to do it. I'll realize the mistake I've made. And then I'll be like, and then let's go back to our layers and turn on, I don't know, the alpha lock or something like that. And you'll be able to clock. You'll be like, ah, yeah, he's done it. He's had to draw that twice. But yeah, replicating photographs lately has been something I've spent a lot of time trying to understand in terms of looking at a photograph, identifying, you know, for this style, what's the main colors I need to dissect from it. You know, there's nothing wrong with grabbing the photo, taking the colors out of it. Of course, you can do that with the dropping the image directly into the palettes. It's not my favorite thing to do. I don't really like it. It grabs too many colors, and for a lot of this stuff, you maybe only need 1 or 2 colors. So when it grabs the whole bunch, it's too much, way too much. So I'm going to start thickening up some of these ones down the bottom a little bit, so we can create more of a graduation of size towards the top. So that those bottom ones are a little bit thicker. Now, I will try and make some adjustments to them shortly, brighten them up in certain areas. I've been working on cartooning myself for a new logo. That's pretty cool. Well, like with big like cartoony animated eyes. So it's good to replicate landscapes. It really is. It helps a bunch as well. Jay took a bathroom break. Nothing. We are just cracking on with this Bali design now. So that's basic shapes of that in. We need to drop the correct colors into the shapes in the background now, which we've got this one. Where have they gone? Oh, that's part of that as well. Let's grab those 2 layers, drag them up, and let's drag the correct color into those, which is going to at least be this color, and then at least be this color in the back. You can see how things are getting lighter towards the back. We do not care in the slightest about that stuff right back there. Sorry, beautiful landscape, but we're not interested that much. Let's try and grab more of a yellowy tone over here and start painting in with some different colors. So we've got the basics here, and we can paint on some really nice bright highlights on there. Okay, cool. Right, so let's start. I'll start at the background, make my way forward. Because the background's not going to change too much. I think the background, I'd probably use my snowy high brush, another new brush that I've made for exactly this type of thing, and then maybe just simply just start like dashing in little areas. So this is meant to sort of replicate like just random brighter areas in this background. Again, we're trying not to focus too much time. This isn't a mountain. This is meant to be like a forest in a sense. We're just gonna paint in some vertical lines in here just to add some texture in there. Sometimes you don't need to necessarily just go in and add in certain areas specifically. You can just go in like this and just zigzag up and down some brighter areas here and there. And as long as you get your sort of lines running down in the right direction, you can give the illusion that there's some trees there or some sort of foliage like that. Something very simple. I'm not too fussed about it. We'll leave it for a sec. This one back there is getting absolutely no love. We'll leave that. And Lydia says, hands down the best tutorials on YouTube. Thank you so much. No, you are very welcome, and I appreciate you sharing the love. You are, as I mentioned, very, very, very welcome. It does mean a lot when people drop in and share some love, some new faces maybe. It's great to see. It's a little bit of just a little. Sound like I felt like I was gonna have a little Bob Ross moment there, just a little bit of Bob Ross. I was gonna be like painting a little bit of this lovely happy yellow. That's gonna give it a nice brighter look back there. And maybe if I was going to give a little bit of love back there, I would go to my landscape collection, maybe the snowy high brush, and just start to just chop away at this edge just to rough it up a little bit. Just so it's not so much of a like a solid shape. We don't hate wavy lines like this. Hate wavy lines that are too structured. Just something a little bit like that. We can just leave that as is for a moment. My daughter draws amazing line artwork. Oh, cool. Happy little trees. There is a little bit of Bob Ross in all of us. Ah, poor Bob. Okay, cool. So we've got some beautiful colors here now to start painting on, some extra little highlights. So for this, because I'm doing it sort of as a live instead, I'll duplicate the layer and then I'll start painting directly on here. Now light source is coming from here, so on all of these ledges we're going to be brave and start to paint in. Oh damn, there we go. Some beautiful ledges. Every time I say the word beautiful in a tutorial, whether like I'm complimenting the landscape or something, I hear it. I hear Bob Ross every time, because he was so, like, I don't know how to explain it, but so complimentary to the landscape, always dropping in just little comments here and there about his thoughts and feelings for the piece that he was drawing, you know. Just so now I'm going to start just to sort of maybe paint in a little bit of texture on the top of this. So just sort of wiggle the pen up and down. So I'm just going to be brave and drop in some color here and there, but also just give a little wiggle here and there just to show that it's not perfect. It's not a flat surface. GM Bob, I'm with you guys. I follow about 30 artists, but I'm only doing tutorials from Joel and 2 others. Great stuff on this site. I appreciate you, Bob. I have seen the documentary on Netflix. And Elizabeth says, now I can have more layers like that, big guys. For sure. You can now. That's one thing I remember when I first started doing this. The first time I sort of stumbled across the fact that not everybody's iPad gives you the same amount of layers. And I have to now, from that point onwards, bear that in mind. Every single tutorial, how can I get the layer count down? How can I accommodate for everyone? And that's why sometimes you hear me say, like in tutorials, like, and at this point, if you want to, you can, you know, pinch these 2 layers together, and that will give you that certain accommodation. This is going to look really cool in a minute once I start to bring that light from up here. Oh, we're lagging a little bit. Oh, we're lagging a little bit. I think it's my computer more than anything. The lighting from up here and drag it down onto the hillside. So hopefully you've not lost me. Hopefully it was just my computer having a silly 5 minutes. Jay says, lately I've been doing Joel's tutorials only. I appreciate that. You guys are so complimentary. I appreciate you. You get the odd person throwing their toys out the pram, and it can be very easy for someone to just get wrapped up in that sort of stuff only. But once you get some nice compliments like that, it's lovely. Okay, cool. See, this is going to take a little while to make my way down here. I'm going to start going back over myself now and painting that brighter highlight first, and then go back in and paint just like the wiggly lines in there. Because now I've found the look I like. Just wrap this bright green round here. Trying to let it just flow out on the right hand side into that darker green as it gets round here. And then maybe just a little bit here on this ledge. A little bit there. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not particularly happy with the staggering of this entire shape. If I was going to redo it, I would adjust the perspective maybe even slightly rotate it so it's a little bit steeper. That already looks better. Maybe I would distort it, grab this node here. While we're on a live, why not? Let's just try and adjust this to... I need to give off the height at the same time, but also the steepness of it. So maybe I just need to really create a much steeper design. Now, it could, no. I don't want it to match this either. It's got to be a little bit taller, a little bit more dominating than this shape. So something like that. That looks okay. Can you guys hear my heater if I turn this on? Just let me know if you can hear like a droning noise in the background. I think this software's cutting it out, which is good. Yeah, I saw that about his son that was doing little bits and bobs. Elizabeth says Joel and Flo are my all-time favourites, so that's a huge compliment to be in the same category. For sure. I don't think you should be able to hear that, but if you do, just let me know and I'll drop it. So my little studio here is in our sort of basement. You get a bit cold in here on the night time. So just painting in some sort of squiggles here and there just to add in some detail. Okay, cool. That's too much detail, arguably, for that space, and that space only. Whoa, hang on, let me catch up. What happened to Text Tuesday, Joe? They were just something for the month of March only. Not going any further than that. Only for Thursday, for March. For March, yeah. It's a lot to handle, to be honest with you. It's also, coming up with all the extra ideas. It is a lot. So now I'm going to start just adding in a little bit of this light source just up on the side of the hill there, and eventually it should all start to become a lot more photogenic in a sense. Something like that. But Text Tuesday was good. It was good. It gave me a lot of ideas. Occasionally, like I said, in the future I may make occasional sort of Tuesday videos as well. But it's a lot to take on. March, to be fair, like at the end of March, early April, I was burnt out completely. Like I shot 13 tutorials that month. That's a lot for me. also having to juggle a day job. One day I hopefully be lucky enough that, potentially it could be something that I do all the time, which means you've got time to sort of recoup and just continue to find your creative energy, but it just burnt it. So I spent a few days, should I say, just really trying to force myself back into it, and I'm come out the other end, which is good, but sometimes you can't always guarantee that either, which is a shame. Jay says, I want to draw Flo's hamburger. Isn't that on her Patreon? I think. Jordan says, Joel and Tatty works on my face. Again, that's great company to be in. Tatty is a fantastic artist. And if you haven't already heard about her, go check out Tatty Works. And Flo. You've already heard of Flo. I can guarantee it. Claire also says Joel and Tatty. Tatty is flying. And Tatty is probably, I think it's something like, I don't think she's a year ahead of me. I think it's less than a year. But we're relatively new kids on the block, I guess. Just need those 1 or 2 videos to do really well, like my Easter one potentially, and you send your subscriber count through the roof. And James says, greetings from North Texas. Greetings to you, my friend. I appreciate you dropping in and saying hello. How you doing? And Jay says, I don't know why, but Tenty is hard for me to follow. You're really good there. Fair enough. GM Bob says, when I'm trying to remember how to use a tool, Flow shorts on Procreate are a lifesaver. Yeah, she's been smashing out the shorts lately. Milo's mentioned the Doodle challenge. I post a Doodle challenge over on my Instagram, on my Discord every single week. So if you want to go and check that out, it gives you something random to create based off of course, a doodle. So if you want to test yourself, the concept, there's like a little random doodle line in there, and you can see what you can come up with based on it. Okay, that little bit there, that little bit of darkness down here just helps the top of this just stand out, but maybe a little bit too much. So I'll come back to that in a sec. You can remind me towards the end to add the shadow in. I think maybe actually if you just darkened it up at the bottom, that would really help. Okay, let's move on to this foreground here. Let's move on to, I think I'm done with that one in terms of the colors. I am. So we're going to move on to this layer here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and create a separate layer, I think, just for this one. I'm going to go back to my painting highlights brushes. Start painting this in. Will you do Tuesdays again next March, Joel? Probably not necessarily. It wasn't anything specific to the month of March. It was just something I fancied doing this year. Just getting in like a Tuesday tutorial as well. If I had the time, I would do it all the time. Oh, the hamburger's on her YouTube. I'm with you. And James says, I'm doing great. Just finished watching the Easter tutorial. I appreciate you watching that. What did you reckon? You enjoy it? And Jim Bob says, Joel, that cutout Easter egg was amazing. I appreciate you, Bob. The tutorial's done so well. I had a great response to it, and I'm very, very pleased that everybody's happy with it. It's absolutely flown on YouTube. So now I'm debating, do I use my stony brush? No, it's too much detail. We're going to go back to the highlights brush and just start to paint in a brighter edge. Just a little bit of a brighter edge down here. I'm going to have to go in here in a second and drop in some green, but for now, this is a lovely little grey colour that just adds in a little bit light coming around the side. Just painting this in on this left hand side here. Trying to be a bit brave with it on the far left as it wraps around. That's good. Let's make sure we add in a good amount there. I think I will try and just grab a extra tone of green, maybe even this tone of green, and just, that's a little bit too bright. What I need is like a slightly less saturated version of that, so maybe like that's an interesting little color choice, Joel. Let's see what we come up with. Okay, we'll see how that goes for a second. See how that goes. Can't figure out the challenge this week. It looks too difficult. I always try and imagine like the worst case scenario is how you can turn it into like a character of some sort. What's up, Amy? How you doing? Kat says, I've had a hard time getting the video uploaded on YouTube from my great games once a week. Can't imagine all you do behind the scenes just to keep us happy. I have a rota for the week. I have to post certain things every day in certain places. Sneak peek here on Patreon. Early access here on Patreon. New tutorial for every patron. Sneak peeks of YouTube content. Early access to YouTube content. YouTube tutorials when they go live. Everything else involved. Throwback content now. I have a rota and I have a little app that tells me every day, you should be doing this, mate. You should be doing this. And it's a lifesaver because trying to remember that all the time is so tricky. And I've got like the worst memory, so super useful for me. I'm just trying to brighten this up a little bit. I think like it could do with maybe just being a little bit greener, you know? There's something like that, and then we've got to move on to the bright highlights. Now these are getting a little bit yellow, so we'll see how these look. But just the same as that side, we're going to just start to wrap around this brighter yellow tone on the top ledges. And at the end, I'll show you the image that I've been using as a reference for this, and you can make your own opinions of what you think it looks like. But now this brighter tone here is really gonna start to just change up how you sort of see this top edge. I'm gonna continue doing the top section first and go in and add some highlights. And you've been brave with like a much brighter tone. Wobbling that pen up and down just to create more of a not grassy, but a little bit more sort of texture in there. Moving some dashes in there as we go. Yeah, nice and brave with that colour. And for our miss out, Claire says she's off. Looking forward to the lock design. Claire, have a wonderful rest of your week. And I'll see you again next week. Thanks for popping in and sharing the love. And then everybody else. You like the throwback content, Elizabeth? That's good to hear. I worry that some people have been like, I've seen this a million times, or Joel just throws back all his content all the time. That's all he does. You never like just make something new for Christ's sake. But it's great for new people because they've not seen it before. There's so many new faces joining at the minute. I think it's got to be done, and it's great for me because I get to repurpose content that's been made. I'm quite lucky that I can do it compared to some like YouTube creators. You know, I get to repurpose content that I made, and it doesn't expire, you know. It's content that sort of can be used and lives on, I guess. Shouldn't necessarily, you know, once we move on to the next one next week, just sort of die. For people such as yourself, Elizabeth, who is one of those new faces, gives you a good glimpse as to what you've missed. Okay, that's really coming together quite nicely. I'm quite happy with how that looks so far. I'm now going to go in and start just painting in some sort of texture. Now, I don't know whether to use my snowy high brush, because I think this may give off... Oh, it does. It does give off a more... So what I'm trying to just show you, just why I sort of gave that reaction. See this little bit here? I'm going to zoom as far as I can. It's dropping like quite charcoaly like texture, and then look at it above and it's quite soft and painting like. So what this will do is, if I rub this sort of up and down this ledge here, it should start to give me more detail and make it look a little bit like grass almost, and we end up nicely with a good chunk of texture. So I'm going to start at the bottom and make my way up to that ledge and just drop in some nice little random bits of texture, just bopping the brush up and down. That should give us a nice amount of texture up and down there. Jordan says, I appreciate your reminders on the older tutorials. Loads of people go back. The brilliant thing for me is, and it's why I will continue to keep doing it, I get a lot of people tag me 2-3 days later and they've gone and done it, and they'd never done it before. So I know it's working, you know. I know that people are getting a chance to go back and use them. Do I like that? I'm not sure if I like this, and I'm a bit worried that I never duplicated the layer, so I think I'm gonna have to go back on myself a little bit first and then duplicate the layer while I can. And Jay says, I scroll through all your videos from time to time and choose what I want to draw next. It's a good way of doing it. I know a lot of people create like playlists on YouTube, and then they go back in and, you know, or just if they see something they like, just pop it in the playlist and come back to it at a later date as and when they're ready. That's looking quite nice. We've got a nice amount of detail in there. Arguably too much, but because it's now got to be maintained all the way around. But we'll see. It's not something I like to really do in this style. But this one again would take ages as a tutorial. This is what the lives are for. Get the whole process in. I watch it back and then go ahead and get rid of any steps that I felt were unnecessary. Things that could have been sped up. It's something that all of your favorite Procreate content creators have to try and do all the time, is how can you simplify a process? Because we can sit here and tinker and adapt to design as much as we want, but to get that into a tutorial for somebody and in a good amount of time, it's pretty tough. It's almost like you want to sort of just sit everybody down on a Zoom call and then start teaching like that way instead. Now, can I get away with just adding in like a little bit of green under here as well? I think I can. That's gonna look really beautiful. A little bit of green under here. A little bit under here too. Now I need to make a sort of mental note to myself that I've switched to the snowy high brush to get some of this texture in here. is like the perfect brush for this. I'll switch back to this one maybe. Drop in some more tones on here. Really layer up the colour before we add the sun just sort of peeking round onto these ledges. This one at the bottom here could definitely do with a little bit of extra. Wrong brush really. That's cool. We've got a nice little bit of texture in there. That's looking nice. Now the photo that I have has like a little hut, and I think I'll go ahead and add that in. And it's roughly around about here, but I don't have a ledge that's big enough. It'll be roughly there. We'll try it. See what we can get in here. Looking at the colours, I think I've just about got the right tones for it. Like I said, after the stream, well, not after the stream, sorry. After I've finished with this, I'll show you the reference image that I've got, and then you can get an idea of where I was going with it and how you can sort of take a look at it maybe and gauge where I've replicated it in certain ways, but also changed it in certain ways as well, simplified where necessary. A shadow as well, so just while we're here we'll just darken up this top ledge with a nice shadow, and again we're going to continue using the landscape collection of my brushes. trying to avoid using straight lines in terms of, like there, I could draw in a line and then go across, but that's not what we want to do. We just want to paint in a little shadow here. We can always darken that up if we want, or lighten that up if we want to, just lower the opacity straight down. Something like that. So we've got a nice little hut on the side, and then we'll go in now and add some colors to it. Looking at that, I need to go ahead and add in a nice bright edge onto the side of it. So let's do that. Let's go to here. I've got the layers, so let's just do it. Let's just alpha lock it. And already I'm loving the fact, this is what I'm talking about in terms of detail near. As you get further back, no detail. Just look at the hut at this particular moment while we're here for a second. The hut is completely in focus. It's nice and sharp. But look, you can see past to a hazy, another version of this hillside in the back. The beauty with that is you create so much depth. You give your front foreground nice detail. Again, when we zoom right out, that's a little bit hazier than this one. We're going to add a little bit of haze to this, don't forget, but this one here in a minute, maybe I'll even go back and start to blur this layer out, actually gauge and blur it so it's completely out of focus. And doing that, we just really stretch that depth out between your foreground and your background, especially this one back here. This one is the one that we will not add any detail to at all, so maybe it's worth blurring it depending on the shape of it. So just always bear it in mind, the dimension that you can create in your design. I want this to look like sort of metal on the top here. Just, yeah, that's nice. And then we'll just brighten this very top edge up. Some brighter color there. Lovely, lovely. Let's go down to this layer here. Maybe we need a slightly different tone. Maybe this one. Had to drop off for a bit, but I'm back. It's good to see you again. We are just carrying on from where we were. With this, I've now added in a little hut on the side here, and I was just explaining, of course, the depth and creating depth in your design, just to really create the illusion of depth. Exactly that. So now I'm just trying to. I need to draw in a door, mind, or do I just put the door on the other side? At this point, I'm just trying to draw in some sort of like textures, almost like metal texture. And again, it's quite a small little space, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But then maybe darken up the underside here. Add in a nice big shadow, be brave with it. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and just erase the bottom half of this off a little bit. Just to create more of a balcony area out front. So they're getting an extension. The lovely people that live here. Right. Vertical. Whoa, relax. Cool. And let's create a clipping mask onto here. Let's do the same. Let's maybe switch it out back to the sort of grey color. Again, it's so far away that maybe we don't need to add in too much detail, but just enough to give the shape some little bit of definition there on the side. That looks so much better. Potentially it's a little bit too dark, so maybe I'll just haze it up a little bit. Potentially I could just get away with just literally just making that grey instead, and then brighten it up on the ledge with some brighter tones like this, maybe. Oh, that looks loads better. Loads better. Should we draw in like a little... Can we get away with just very easily drawing a window in here? Let's give the illusion of a window. It's got to look quite right. Don't think we quite get away with it. Although it's just tiny. It's tiny little bits of detail. Who's still here then? Who have we still got in the chat? If you're still here, say hello. If you just got here, say hello. They almost look a little bit too bright. And also, they wouldn't be windows as such, based on the location of where this is. They wouldn't be like glass panes. So maybe something like a little bit more like this, just to sort of give the illusion. That's loads better. That's loads better. We got Elizabeth. We got Julie. Kat's still here on her way home, no doubt, stopping at a red light. Jay's still here as well. Cool, let's go back to the very background and start really emphasizing the gut effect. So maybe we go for 2 seconds. I'm just gonna full cam you for a sec, relax, there's nothing's coming off. We're just going back here to duplicate the layer and come back to it. Duplicate the canvas because I want to make some adjustments of real focal depth. So, and our tourist is still here, Jordan's still here as well. So we're gonna blur out some of the ones right in the distance. This is driving me nuts because it's casting a shadow onto my face the whole time. I don't know why. Nothing's really changed. Yeah, well, okay, right. Let's go ahead and gosh, and blur out this right in the distance. So, do I want to start there first? Or we could really gosh and blur it out, get rid of so much detail, but whatever we do here, we got to do less when we get closer. So if we do like say 10% at a max back there, and then we go to this layer here with this level of detail on it, maybe we pinch those two together now, and then gosh and blur this out, adding in, we can't go any further than 10 because that's the furthest one that we went all the way to the back. So we have to sort of bring that down a little bit. So maybe you bring that to say 6%, which means you drop by 4, meaning we can Gaussian blur this potentially by 2%. So we could go here, pinch those layers together, Gaussian blur, blur this out just 2 or 3%. Could maybe stretch a little bit further. But the second you do that, we've just created so much depth in here. It looks really, really cool, and it focuses our attention really on this area here. This layer here also you guys forgot to tell me to darken that up. So I'll go ahead and darken that up now. Oh, my lower back is just so old, you know what I mean? Yeah. A nice little light haze, maybe just there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of haze onto here as well. So I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to clipping mask that too. And I'm just going to add in a nice little bit of haze just on that edge. Now, if anything, that probably needs to be a little bit maybe greener, brighter and greener. A little bit of extra light in there, and then maybe while we're here just being a bit adventurous, let's just darken up the bottom edge down there. Now that's probably wrong, to be honest with you. I wouldn't maybe go to that depth of just darkening this up right in this corner too much. But I think it looks really beautiful. Alive, boy. So we didn't boss you around enough today. Nah, you just about got away with it. Now what could we do here? Let's just see if like add looks obviously super bright as it always does. Does look kind of cool, but and yeah, you just get like a really sort of photogenic sort of 3D look to it, and I think that looks really cool. So if I just zoom in for you a little bit, so we get full sort of screen with that, you can see the depth there, like right in the back. We're not interested in what's back there. The camera has focused completely on this little hut. That is the main focal point. And if you were to put, say, like a person stood there as well, perfect. Appreciate it, Jordan. Says very cool perspective. Bob, time to go watch my grandson play hockey. This has been fun. Good night all. Bob, we do this every week, my friends. So if you want to come back and join us, we do this every Wednesday. So I appreciate seeing you in here and enjoy the hockey. I wish your grandson the best of luck. And what's up, Cyberpunk? How's it going on? It's going really good, my friend. It's going really, really good. I just drew this beautiful little Bali design. How could I show you the original? The original had a little bit more sort of height back here, a difference to this. I wonder whether or not now we could actually go back. Now we've squished all the layers together. And just simply grab this layer and maybe warp it. Just bring the top down, flatten the top edge. Try and create more of a flatter look. So bring this node here, bring this node here, and then flatten it down there a little bit more. Do not want like an arc in here. Just want to create a bigger area here at the bottom. If I was going to redraw this, it wouldn't look like this anymore. The changes to this area, it's the perspective's a little bit wrong. These aren't getting bigger as they should do towards the bottom, like kind of like this. Sapam says, I'm enjoying watching your art. Appreciate you, my friend. Procreate Guru Joel. Maybe that's what we changed the name to. What else could we do here? So that was a version where we did the blur. I mean, I don't think I would ever change anything else to this. The only thing I would, maybe something in the sky in the background, maybe like a little bit of cloud back there. But again, we'd have to blur it, so we couldn't put too much detail in here. So maybe pretty much white back there. We're gonna have to grab a lighter tone than this. So we could do like there's not really much point. It's so bright back there. No, I don't think I would. This is something I've actually really enjoyed doing lately as well, is when the sky is really really bright and there's not really like anything in there, which if I just very quickly, I'll catch up with Kat's comment there in a second, go from the one I was just working on and we go to say this one here. This one here also did the same thing, where the background here is just so bright, there's nothing in it. It's just like one of those days where the sun is just beaming and beautiful, and you don't need to add any detail. I'm not looking for that font J as such. I know where it is. It's just I wanted to triple check if it was a built-in one or not. If you're asking about my iPad, I assume Cyberpunk. It's the 11-inch one. And Kat says, could you do one and duplicate it, blur it for the back one? I did blur the back one a little bit, but we're only talking like 4%. Now, if I actually go back a second and we jump back to the design again, I'll make a further duplication of it, and we'll see how far we can get away with blurring the detail out. Oh, hang on, I'll tell you what. Let's get rid of Let's get rid of this one. And let's get back to the one that was fully sharp and in detail. Oh, what I'll do is let's just quickly grab this one, copy that, and then go back to this one here, paste this in. So before I do that, I just want to paste this in here for you and show you the difference between the fully sharp version and the unsharp version. So if we go back to here, I'm so fast at speaking. That's the 11-inch. My iPad is the 11-inch version. You can find on my website a full list of all my equipment. I didn't realize I speak so fast. Do I? And you also said you want to find your own style of art. Do you have any suggestions? Finding your own style of art is a long process, and it's also a never-ending process. You'll never find something and stay static on it. I mean, you can look at my portfolio of work on JoelCreate. It starts off extremely sort of neon, very minimalistic. I still love that style, but now I'm getting into more painting these proper landscapes. Your style will change all the time, but pushing yourself to do different things out of your comfort zone is a good thing. You may look at some certain designs, let's just hypothetically say this one here, and you may think, I'm not sure if I could do that, but you can do it. Tell you who, if you ever want to get into more like landscape designs, go take a look at James Julia. His landscape tutorials are phenomenal. They're unbelievable. So go check out James. He's great. Then you get completely different work from people like Tati Works, you know, really beautiful pattern work. She always works with a lot of textures. Awesome work. And then Flow, of course, will take you into loads of different areas. But you got to just keep trying lots of different things and find a style you like and then adapt it. Or these days I would really recommend as well doing people's courses online. Like people that have done this for a long time, you know. And then catching up with everybody with the rest of that conversation. Jordan, yeah, that was one from last week, that design. It's going to be a tutorial on Patreon next month. And Marie says, Joel, you jumped in head first for that one. Okay, cool. So this one here is the full in focus version. Now this one, if I zoom in on the detail a little bit for you, you can see the tree work in the background. So if I zoom right in on that, that's what that actually looks like. So we've got some real nice speckle sort of charcoal look to it. And then when we zoom out of that and we go back to the full version here, I think if I tap with two fingers, we then get into the blurred version. So ignore obviously the obvious haze that I've added in the meantime. But the rest of the design, you know, you just blur that detail out. Look at this mountain here in the background. That one there goes from that blurry version to super sharp. And there's not so much depth in there. But then tapping with two fingers, I can see the blur effect in there. Now if I go into here, we go back to there and duplicate that one more time. Let's see how far we could get away with blurring it. So let's see how far, as I mentioned, we can get away with it. Now this is our foreground, so we don't want to touch that. We've got our sort of mid-ground, which is this one here. So we're going to pinch all of those together onto one layer. And I'm going to see how far I could gouge and blur this one before I feel like it's gone too much. Even at 7%, I would argue that's too much. It looks great, because this is like not super sharp now in comparison to that. Should we just try it? So minimum at 7. I don't like it. I wouldn't do this, but let's go down a few layers and see what we can come up with. So minimum 7. So this one back here has got to really go like maybe 12. and then the one right in the background's got to go all the way to +5, so 17. So this kind of gives you a bit more of a perspective. See you later, Alturis. I see you. Thanks for dropping in and showing some love. This is something that like gives you that kind of, don't know if this will mean anything to you, but model village style aesthetic, where like you're zoomed in on like a really scaled down sort of town and zooming right in on a tiny item, and you can get really sort of hyper focused detail. It's a type of photography style, and by doing that you make things actually appear maybe really small even though they're not, because you've got to zoom right in and things are blurred out around it. So like this hut now, you can see how sort of sharp that looks even though there's like a minimal amount of detail in it really, because the background now is completely blurred out. So we've got very different approach on that one to the last one. It looks cool. If you were going to do something maybe with like something really dramatic happening in front of you, like in the front of the scene here, it would look awesome. But yeah, that's another option you could go with compared to the previous blurred one. Kind of looks really cool when you bring it all back into focus again. So yeah, that's one of them. Let me just show you a few of the designs just in case new faces are in the stream that I've been working on. I say new faces, but people that have been in from the start might not have seen potentially. So the paper cutout tutorial obviously did really well this weekend gone. But the effect you can use to create lots of different stuff. This one here is something I made for just like a doodle essentially, almost for a friend's wedding that would just happen this weekend. But it's the same approach, and I always keep my shadows in the same direction as well. So shadows are up here, pointing down. We get that nice, beautiful, crisp white edge here, where the highlight of the paper edge is just being kissed by the light source, and you've got this beautiful 3D effect with the sort of paper going down into there a little bit more. And even just down into here, like this shadow and then reverse highlight, to me just looks so cool. So cool. And just want to show you that so you can get some ideas how to use those skills in the future for your own designs and your own ideas. Each layer that you go down, you could introduce something else. You could introduce like a bit, I don't know, you could introduce this layer here. Do I really want to get into this? I don't really, but I will just for a moment. You can, introduce some like curls and twirls in here, like something like this. As you make your way further down, and then just create more and more detail as you make your way through the layers. That's all I'm getting at. That's using the same. This is what I always try to sort of explain, is I always want to explain the tools. And it's, some people have explained other people's tutorials sometimes of, yes, you complete it, but then the way that it's explained doesn't stick. And so when you then go to maybe create that again, you can't remember. So I always try to make sure that I explain it in a way and demonstrate in a way so that you can always create cool content. So that was just something I wanted to show you so you can, again, learn how to use the skills. If we switch that out and take a look at a few other things. Now, last week I drew this padlock on stream. So it started off as this version where we started off really face on with the design, and you can see the light source in the top left hand corner. Always identify your light source to the person viewing it. It makes it, for the brain, it helps a lot because it can understand. If I flipped that light source round, it would confuse the heck out of everyone because the shadows and highlights and whatnot just do not match up. So that's what I started last week. But then if I flip that round and then quickly show you the finished version of it, which is this one, I then made it 3D and changed the light source to a blue, which is the complementary color of the colors of the padlock originally. And you can see the colors there on that with a much more beautiful blue highlight, which just looks so cool on that rustic look. Is the paper texture yours? It is indeed, but it's a mix of the content that is readily available inside Procreate. But the canvas brush that I added in the description of the paper cutout tutorial is in fact one that I've just put together based on the content that they have available too. Did I say that? Did I, Julie? This is a tutorial that's going to be live on Patreon next month, which is going to be cool. Really cool design for that. You may have just seen it a second ago, but this beautiful landscape with the beach, this is going to be a tutorial again on Patreon because of the brushes that are used in it. We've got this beautiful beach scene, little sand dunes, and then blurred out foreground. It's just beautiful, beautiful look to it. And then what else have we got to show you? I can't show you some other stuff right now because it's just not available yet. What day is it? It's Wednesday. Oh, there's so much stuff I want to show you. I can give you a hint that next week on YouTube is going to be a neon design. Now, the neon design is based around the concept of peace, based on the fact of what's happening in the world. So, yeah, it's going to be a tutorial next week on neon. So kind of got, again, maybe another hint to people that aren't Patreon supporters, maybe back-to-back neon designs. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to maybe glimpse at. I think there is. Not that I want to show just yet. Submarine. It's a good idea. Yeah, that's it. Should I do the doodle challenge? Let's do the doodle challenge. Or do you not want me to, because it will ruin your ideas for what you want, for what you see? I'll happily not do it. Let me know in the chat if it's going to ruin it for you for your doodle challenge, but I will do the doodle challenge. If you're new to the doodle challenge, every Wednesday I post a doodle. It is a couple of lines maybe, or little squiggles here and there, and then you, with your creativity, have to take a look at it and picture it in your own. What do you see when you take a look at it? You then create a design and then share it in the relevant thread in Discord so that you can see what other people come up with. And everybody sees a doodle in a different way. This is the cool thing about it. And always bear in mind, it's just a doodle. It's just meant to be a little bit of fun. Create something cool from it. See what you come up with. My niece keeps wanting you to do Baby Yoda. Now, may we? May the 4th coming up. I didn't say anything, but just take it for what it is. May the 4th coming up. Actually, when is May the 4th in comparison to weekends? Oh no, computer's lagging. I'll take it a bit later because my computer's having a funny 5. So if I lag, I'm sorry. Who asked for that Baby Yoda? It was Jay. Keep an eye on the space, my friend. Okay, cool. So what do I see when I look at this? What do I see? Always start by taking a look at a doodle. Just rotate it a few times. See what you see as you rotate it. Potentially here you could have like a really odd shaped boot, potentially. You could turn that into a weird 3D, not 3D, but like a weird shaped heart. So if you imagine this is the bottom point, you could link those lines together and then kind of replicate this corner here. So go up here and then go down into a point. So you could make it look really quirky, like it was like pieces of metal forced on top of each other. Wednesday is May the 4th. Oh, that sucks. I don't watch anime, Cyberpunk. When I was young, used to watch Dragon Ball Z. Pokemon, obviously, when I was a kid. Dragon Ball Z is still pretty cool in my eyes, but I don't watch it. It's just annoying it's on a Wednesday because tutorials come out Tuesday, Fridays. So maybe that week I'd have to change it to the 4th. I don't know. We'll see. So you could rotate this round again. What do we see when we see it upside down? Right, this is going to sound really weird, but the bumper of a truck, like here, and that's the windscreen in windscreen? Yeah, windscreen in the background. I'm going to draw that. I think that is going to look cool. And I've got like real sort of Lightning McQueen sort of vibes from that series. So maybe flip that vertically, rotate it. The thing to do with the Doodle challenge as well, I would always advise, is try and keep the original lines as well, so that you can always show as a reference to people on Discord where how did you actually manage to incorporate it. Now again, remember it's just a doodle, so if your lines aren't super accurate, it's all good. Who's not a robot? Oh, the thing is with cars, they're so tricky. Am I going to bail on this straight away? Tell you what, I am. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to. Let's do what I initially saw, which was rotating this back around, and what I see here is like a set of eyes here. Okay, so this is going to be the Doodle challenge. Let's do this. Potentially, this line here. I always see like a robot really easily in a lot of these doodles. Tends to be a really easy thing to make because you're not, you know, stuck in the same shape a lot of the time. You can robot, you know, something cartoony, get away with a lot. So it's going to be a bit odd to start with. We'll get there. You can't erase part of the challenge, right? No, you got to incorporate the lines as much as you can. So like you can see my original lines here. If I invert those lines, turn them on. The only thing I've done there is just tweak that edge, but you can see how they fit into the design fully. So this is going to look... Tell you what I should do actually is... That gives me way more space to play with. And now I can draw in a head that will hold all of that inside it. Yeah. You can get the idea that the eyes are here, the mouth is this piece here, and then we just tie it all in. I think I used to have like an overlay, which would be really cool right now to have in to show the Doodle challenge. Of that. Image. Add source. No, it's not here. Add source. Add new source. Oh, Jordan, sorry, you said you were off. Oh, and Elizabeth's off, and so is Jordan. Enjoy the rest of your days, morning, evenings, afternoons, wherever you are in the world. Jay says, I hope you don't get frustrated with the doodle like you did last time. That was just the weirdest design, wasn't it? It was just a very strange design that I was making. Is that the water one? Is there any cool fonts around here? Come on, it's got to be at least one good font. Bebas News is pretty good. Two seconds, folks. Just want to go ahead and create this little bit to go on the side. How big is that just gone? That'll do. I don't want to talk to other artists in live stream, sorry. Yeah, it was the water one, wasn't it? That was a bit of a frustrating one. Right, okay, sorry. So let's do that. So you can see now it's the Discord Doodle challenge. let's just roll with it. Let's roll with it. So let's grab all the layers. First of all, scale it down to where I need it to be. Eyes and a mouth. This one should be pretty easy to do. So dab on the last one. But it genuinely should be. We go ahead and go down and come down here and go around here. They go all the way up and around, and we can create like a, almost like a, what's his name from Futurama? Bender. That's it. A shape like that. And with the doodle challenges, I like to keep the line work like pretty cartoony. This is my choice. So I'm gonna go. Cyberpunk, you just need to explain yourself as to what you mean. What do you mean? Okay, that's just going to work out eventually, trust me. Let's go ahead and draw in some eyes in here. eyes, of course, can't be any bigger than the shape that they're in. So something like a little bit like this. I know you might be agreeing with me. I just don't know what we're agreeing on. Nah, if that's what you're talking about, you chat away. That's what I'm here for. The chat is meant to be here. It's meant to be active. It's meant to be talking. Don't ever think that I don't want you to talk in the chat. Absolutely not. That's what you guys are here for. So you can have a chance to chill with me, hang out with me, and yeah, we just chill. I'm not here to just sit in silence, otherwise I would not be doing it. I'm here to hang out with you guys, my regular viewers. Now, I hope if someone's watching right now doesn't just think, wow, Joel's really fallen off since that design. This is the Doodle challenge. So this is something we do over on my Discord. So we there's a doodle of some lines for this week, and then you have to create something from it. So I'm just going to create like a weird sort of robot head. You're damn right, Julie. You're damn right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just start painting in some light sources and stuff. Throwing me off a little bit. Let's go to here. First of all, change this color to, let's just go to black. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and whip through this now. Don't want to spend too much time on it. Brighten up this edge a little bit here. Let that just run over the top. So you create that little bit of 3D and a little bit of chamfer look to it, like so. But then just maybe go in and just darken up the ridge a little bit. Cool. Let's go back to the part here. Maybe just darken the underside here. I'm going to put my light source up there and up there, so I can nicely gauge where it is on the rest of the head. Thought you'd gone to bed, Julie. Thought you left me to it. Also, I'm gonna have to print that out. Getting cool on the internet. Okay, let's darken up the inside of these glasses a lot. Again, actually, I think that would be better just to make that black, and then clear this layer, and then maybe grab this yellow as if that's bright enough to go onto the edges here. They are. So we just brighten up the inside here. Julie, the other day, I forgot to tell you. I forgot to tell you, there was somebody, I was at the gym the other day, and there was a girl, and I was like, her face looks kind of familiar, and I've 100% thought for a second, I thought, is Julie taking a trip all the way down to the gym? And I was like, no, surely not. Surely she wouldn't do that, would she? And then I just sat there like sort of panicking, like, wait, hang on a minute. Has this actually happened? I was so confused. Okay, I'm just gonna start making my way down the edge of this one now with the soft airbrush. I need to grab all of my layers. Whoa, how did I miss one layer? Oh, she was checking, like, I was worried that she was checking me out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just keep looking at the mirror. Just do my thing. And then I'm gonna sneak out. I knew you'd take offense to that. You're lucky we understand each other. Okay, something like that will do. Maybe a little pink design. Ooh. Maybe a very dark, just rounded edge there, just to make that look a little bit more 3D. Round it off. It's almost like it's like a, I'm gonna say the word bullet, but I mean it as in like the actual bullet shape. Keep your minds in the right places. Iron Giant. Oh yeah, good idea. Forgot about that. I'm going to clipping mask. Oh no, not drawing. Clipping mask to this one. We'll just darken up one side. Do one eye and then do the other one. So you confirming, Julie, it wasn't you? We'll do that. Maybe if I was actually gonna carry this on, which I guess I'm getting to now when I now said this, is just change the shape of this eye a little bit. So just make the eye like a tube, like down into here, and then wrap that around there. I'm really liking this. Oh, I appreciate that. I always hate the Doodle challenges. I hate them. But it's looking alright. It's looking alright. I only hate them in a sense that it's so restricted, but it's part of the beauty of it. You are restricted. You cannot get away with just doing whatever you want. So in that sense, I don't hate them. I just want to do a little bit more with them. Julie says, I can guarantee at this point, if it was in the gym, it definitely wasn't me. So you can go back, you're safe. I've cancelled my membership now though, so this is really awkward, isn't it? Aida chica vet. You're so cheeky. It's almost like Geordie accent, that one. Jesus, man. So I think there, if I start to darken this up a little bit, so this runs into darkness, the inside of these eyes will make a lot more sense. Meow. How often do you try your own doodle challenge? To be honest, I very rarely do it. The very first time I ever did it, I got shouted at by everybody, so I don't really do it much. By that I mean that I did it and everybody was annoyed that they liked it so much that they didn't even bother that week, so I don't really do it. But I don't really do it simply because a lot of the time I'm most of the time busy, but it's always a nice little backup on the stream. If I'm not ready to go to bed, like say like tonight, I can go ahead and do the doodle challenge. Nice and easy content. I don't have to sit down and start to flush out a full new design. I can just draw something like this, and then underneath this I need to go ahead and darken up the underside of the mouth a little bit. Oh wait, Mr. Secret J is just try and catch me out. So let's just darken up the bottom area of these teeth. We'll make it look like that. Kind of 3D, I guess. Like a 3D sort of pill shape to it. Really darken them up so that we can go back in with some brighter tone towards this bottom edge down here. Just brighten that up again. That's kind of cool. We could do something cool where we duplicate this, invert it, like so, drag that up a little bit to create some highlight tones, and maybe just lower the opacity down or change the layer option like so. That's looking pretty cool, pretty nice and 3D almost. Each tooth you could go in and create some brighter tones on it. Something like this. Getting pretty random with this one. This is kind of weird, isn't it? It's kind of cool. Just stuck with the doodle, unfortunately. And then the cool thing you can go ahead and do is quite quick and easy. You can add some really cool texture in here. Go to your colors, grab white, maybe grab a brush such as under painting. It's after this, by the way, I'll be done. So the dry brush, make your brush a bit bigger. You can create these cool little scrapes on the metal like so. And these in a second will look like, if we swipe it to the left and duplicate it, we invert the bottom one and then maybe grab it and move it down a little bit. Something maybe like that, or even just extend it out like that. You end up creating almost like little grooves in the scrapes. Like, that's better. There we go. We hit the texture. So you can see that now. You see how quick and easy that was, just to create some nice and easy sort of scratches in it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe make one adjustment to the eyes. Maybe I'll draw that first robot that I initially did from the Doodle challenge as a tutorial at some point, if you like this sort of content. What's happening? I need to connect my pen again. Right, so let's just pop this on. And then we could add in some like last minute sort of highlights in here that would kind of give more of a hazy look. So go to your yellows, create a new layer here, increase that size up, create like a big glow here from the eyes and the mouth area, potentially the mouth. And maybe just eliminate a little bit of that from this side here. A bit of a brighter glow to the eyes. Could maybe lower the opacity or mess around with the layer options. Maybe change it to add and make them really punch out, something like that. Make them nice and bright. And then even duplicate that layer. Come off of that layer down to here. Okay, maybe do it again actually and go here. And then just add in a little bit of blue. I'm all for like adding haze on top at the minute. I think it's just like you can just make something look a lot, I don't know, more real. Also make like things have more of a glow to them. Something like that. I mean, it kind of like, it's just a bit crazy. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that one. I haven't watched it for such a long time. Let's just maybe lower the opacity down of these, or even change the layer effect, maybe to add, so that ends up super bright on the edge of the head. It's just to mess around with the Doodle challenge. And if we take a look originally at where the lines were, what's the best way for me to do this? Maybe do I invert them to white? What color would look nice and standoff here? Maybe bright green. Alpha lock, fill. There you go. So you can see the original lines here in the Doodle, which is the underside of the mouth, the top area of the eyes. Yep, just a head. That's all I'm going to do. That's the Doodle challenge complete. I'll pop that in Discord in a bit. It's just a random little bit of fun, something nice and easy. But obviously the fun part we had today was this one here. So let's go back, let's go up to the latest design we drew, which the fun one right at the end was this one here. So if you're only just joining the stream, it's pretty much at a wrap now. We started off today by drawing, well, I was messing around initially with a UFO design, but this is then my main design for tonight, which is this Bali-inspired design, which I think looks really beautiful. Got the hillsides, how they look, and I'll post a picture on Discord afterwards. So if you want to join my Discord, it's in the link in the description. So you can go ahead and join the community over there. But that's what that looks like, and you'll see the reference image as well, like I said, over on Discord. Lydia says, awesome tutorials today, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. These are all eventually things you see. It's just for new people joining. Things you see in live streams. A lot of the time it's me. How I tend to think of live streams is it's me drawing as I would normally do in my free time for tutorial content, but I draw them live for you guys, have a chat, interact with you guys, and that's what it's all about. If we're not interacting, I'm not here. But a lot of the stuff you see, if you like it, just hold fire. It'll eventually be a tutorial. I've just got to get around to doing it. But a lot of the time in the live streams, they take a little bit longer, so I have to try and work out how I can simplify the process and get it stripped down to something a lot easier. So this will eventually probably be a tutorial at some point. I think it looks very beautiful. And if you're interested, the tutorial for the Patreon one went live today, which is... I need to keep sitting upright. Patreon tutorial went live today, which is this one here. So you can check out the exploding planet design. It's available on Patreon. If you're not already a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description down below. You can come and get exclusive tutorials every single month. You get 3 extra tutorials every single month. And if you like the one you just saw a second ago, the Bali-inspired one, there are a few really awesome painted designs, such as this one here, cowboy design, and there's also another mountainscape, and lots more to come in this style. So I appreciate everybody dropping in and showing some love in the chat. If you're new here, we do these every Wednesday, so come along and show some love in the chat. A new tutorial will be out on Friday, little neon theme design. Potentially I'll release it Thursday night, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna hit the hay. It's 10 to midnight here. Good night, Julie, to yourself as well. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Jay, Julie, Lydia, and anybody else that's still here. Have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. Adios, everybody.